Topical and atypical. Unfiltered and independent. 100% authentic and intelligent.
Good morning. Good morning, everybody. Welcome to Views from AmandaLand. How's everybody doing today? It's nice to see so many people waiting for the show to start. Good morning. Good morning. It is Tuesday, January 14th. Tuesday, January 14th. And this has been annoying me, so I need to fix it. Okay, it's Tuesday, January 14th. Welcome to the show. Thank you, Vanessa M. Thank you. I forgot something downstairs. Talk amongst yourselves. Talk amongst yourselves about the bonus question. Let me do that. Let me just throw it up there real quick. So let's just get into it real quick.
Bonus question. Bonus question. Bonus question. Bonus question.
Bonus question. What skill do you bring to your community? Now, I want to make something really clear. Here at this show, it is imperative that we are thinking beyond just like, oh, these are news stories, or, oh, this is funny. We are thinking in terms of application, okay? We're thinking in terms of application. We're thinking about things and we're getting the information so that we can apply it. And I believe that community is one of the essential elements that we are lacking here, particularly in the United States. So I want you to really, really think about this, and I want you to call. I want you to, well, you don't even have to call. You just have to leave a message. I want you to go to viewsfromamandaland.com and leave a message, because when I ask a question about community, the voicemail should be flooded, okay? It should be flooded. It should be flooded. So think about it. And then I am going to be right back. Don't leave it in the comments over here. That's not what I'm asking you to do. I'm asking you, leave a message at viewsfromamandaland.com. I'll be right back. I'm going to give y'all some music. Okay, I am back. So did you think about it? Someone said in true teacher fashion. Did you think about it? Great. Glad you thought about it. Everybody, please tell me, where are you joining us from? By the way, this sweater is very itchy. I'm low-key dying of itch, if that's a thing. But I'm gonna wear it because I love it. Look at that. It's just, it's just giving joy. I just broke my necklace. So I'm gonna have to replace the clasp. But look at my necklace. Look at my necklace, y'all. It says AmandaLand. Yay! If you are watching on Instagram, join us now. On YouTube, Amanda Seals TV. I know that some of y'all are very stubborn about staying at Instagram. I don't know why. It's not even like it's that bomb. Okay, so come on over to here. Now, where are you guys joining us from? I love this. I love doing this. I love hearing where you guys are from and seeing where you guys are from. So let's get into that. Okay. It looks like we've got people joining us from all over the place. Sugarland, Texas. We got Mameli joining us from South Africa. We have, who else? We got Bay Area. Shout out to the Yay area. We got Brooklyn, Maryland. What else? We got Detroit. Lytle, Texas. I don't know about Lytle, Texas. We got Indianapolis. Okay, shout out to Naptown. We got Equatoriana. So we got a Ecuadorian in Jersey. We got VA Beach, Virginia Beach, Sunrise, Florida. And someone said they love my sweater. So you see what I'm saying, though? Like, that's what makes it worth it. We got Phoenix, Arizona, Wilmington, Delaware, Chile, Tampa, Nyack, New York, Colorado, Osaka, Japan. We done hit Asia, y'all. We done hit Asia, y'all. All we need is Australia. And we've done 6 of the 7 continents, y'all. My mug today says creativity is intelligence, having fun. Yeah. And that's what we do right here at Views from AmandaLand. So let's do our quick church announcements that we do every morning. First of all, please remember, subscribe. If you are new here, the first thing you should do is like and subscribe. That's the first thing you should do is like and subscribe. Second, please replay the episode. After you watch, replay it. We did really good yesterday. We had so many views, and that is what it takes to continue to push the show. And oh my God, I have no earrings on. I'm dying. Oh my God, I have no earrings on. It was one of those mornings, y'all. It was one of those mornings. Also, please remember to add a super if you love what you're watching, and you can add a super like these folks right here. Shout out to Chakra Guru. Shout out to Lauren, Nina, and Vanessa, who have all been here already dropping some tips in the donation bucket. Okay. We also want to remind you that this is not just the things that I do. I also am over on Patreon, where people subscribe and they get even more content. And they also get a really dope community of folks who are really about culture, about compassion, and about common sense and critical thinking, which I think is so lacking. And as we see the demise of spaces like TikTok and Facebook and Instagram, we're all going to be, a lot of us who are attached to these digital spaces for, being seen and relatability, we're going to be looking for places. And one thing about my Patreon is that even though there are different tiers that you can give based on how much you earn or how much you decide that you want to give, everyone gets access to all the things. So that is an effort of equality that we do over at my Patreon. So also want to remind you to drop a seal in the chat. Shout to my seals people in the chat. Now today we'll be joined by our guest Nikki Hughes, owner of Octavia's Bookshelf in Altadena. This episode is all in for Altadena. So we're going to be talking about what's going on in Altadena, California. They were devastated by the Eaton fire and also forgotten by mainstream media. And so we as Black media have to take up the mantle. So we're going to get into that. And because we have to get into that, we kind of have to get it moving on the show today. So let's get into our word of the day. Our word of the day is milieu. The word of the day is milieu. Can anyone tell me or use milieu in a sentence? Can anyone use milieu in a sentence? Anyone? Can you use milieu in a sentence? Milieu. A milieu is a person's social environment. It's a noun spelled M-I-L-E-U-W. Adrian says, I wasn't jumping into the milieu of that man, his mistress, and his wife. Okay, you better tell him, Adrian. Adrian said, I'm not doing it. I'm not jumping into the milieu of that man. I'm not jumping into the milieu of that man. You guys are so funny. All right, we got Miss Juliet. He was not invited to the Hamptons because he was not a part of that milieu. Correct. L Candy says, being in that toxic milieu is not my métier. I love it. Ooh, Donisha Angel Edmonds said, my daughter's milieu is questionable. You better keep a close watch, Donisha. Keep a close watch. And last but not least, let's end it on a positive. Amanda's show is a positive milieu. We love it. Now remember, these words will be featured in our, that's right, review episode, which is going down on the last Wednesday of the month. The last Wednesday of the month, people will be given the opportunity to win prizes by displaying their knowledge of topics that we have discussed over the course of the month. So think of it as your comprehensive review. All right, think of it as your comprehensive review. So let's get into the show, and it is time to discuss some Blackurate news.
Blackurate news. Politics. Blackurate news. Pop culture. Blackurate news. Sports. Blackurate news. Justice.
All right, so let's lock in. So something that we've been talking about a lot that I've been seeing is the conversation around the firefighters that are involved in protecting folks in this situation in California. And I don't think a lot of people know, but according to the Los Angeles Times, incarcerated people, including juveniles, are believed to make up approximately 30% of California's firefighting force. 30% of California's firefighting force. Nearly 400 among the 14,000 emergency responders working on the wildfires that are destroying neighborhoods in Los Angeles. Now, some of you might be like, how? Well, while the 13th Amendment ended slavery in the United States, a loophole allows people convicted of crimes to be forced to work for public or private enterprises. Have you seen the documentary 13th? In this case, or read the book by Melissa Alexander? In this case, those tasked with firefighting volunteer to these positions. They have to meet certain criteria, of course, but they're not assigned without their consent. So, it's not like they are being forced. However, they are paid a very meager wage, and in some cases are working 24 hours with one meal. Okay. So I'm going to read to you what the 13th Amendment says. Neither slavery nor involuntary servitude, except as a punishment for crime whereof the party shall have been duly convicted, shall exist within the United States or any place subject to their jurisdiction. Now, during the most recent U.S. election, California voters rejected Proposition 6, which was a ballot measure that would have banned forced labor in state prisons. And by the way, only a handful of states have actually abolished forced prison labor. So you might be saying, yeah, but they're choosing to do it, so how is it forced? It's forced because it's not like they can quit. You understand what I'm saying? Like, they're in prison. And in many cases, this extends beyond, like making things in prison. It goes to actually convict leasing. So, by the way, the handful of states that have abolished forced prison labor: Colorado, Vermont, Nebraska, Utah, Alabama, surprisingly, Oregon, and Tennessee. So a lawsuit was filed in December of 2023 that was alleging gross mistreatment, violations of both the United States and Alabama constitutions, and instances of retaliation against the convict on work release due to reporting of sexual harassment. So work release is when they literally will let convicts out to go work in different private companies, and then they come back to jail. It's literally convict leasing. The lawsuit previously lists as defendants companies that we all know: McDonald's, Wendy's, KFC, Burger King, like their parent companies, and then other well-known companies that are using prison labor currently are Amazon, AT&T, Home Depot, FedEx, Lockheed Martin, Coca-Cola, and many, many others nationwide. And actually, we'll do a whole story about this on another day. But the other part of this I think is really important to note is that incarcerated firefighters have some of the highest injury rates among all prison workers and are 4 times more likely to sustain injuries compared to other firefighters. No joke, because they don't go through the same level of training, and they also are in a high stress situation and then coming into another high stress situation. I mean, look at this. Nuts. Now, someone asked, are they being paid? They get paid like $2 a day. Literally $2 a day. What they were doing in that video is they're cutting sections using chainsaws. They're on, extreme vertical sections, by the way, using chainsaws and manual hand tools like axes to cut wide lines through dense trees and brush to create a buffer to homes below in the canyon. So what they're essentially trying to do is to create a gorge, so to speak, so that it lessens the ability of the fire to jump. And we're going to do another story about Indigenous fire knowledge and what the Indigenous people would do to prevent situations like this from happening in terms of fire being able to jump. And that's going to happen on another day where we're going to talk about that. And it's called cultural burning. So we'll get into that on another day. But I wanted to give these firefighters a chance. I wanted to hear about these firefighters speaking on their own experience. So let's check out some of their insights.
Man, and protect structures and save lives. Actually, here to put fires out, man, and protect structures and save lives.
Actually, very thankful for the opportunity that I got, to get my record expunged, give me opportunity to build a strong foundation, so I can advance in life and have a future, not only me, but for my kids.
We were fighting fires, protecting everybody. Before I got incarcerated, sadly, I didn't really not know much about firefighting. So once I did become incarcerated, I actually ended up liking it. So yeah, I can actually see myself as a firefighter. Hopefully, once I parole, I'll be going to the Ventura program, graduate from there, and then be on with Cal Fire.
We've been putting them out for the last 24 hours. We're down 24 right now. So we're a little bit tired, and we just had a great meal, and we're about ready to bed it down. And I'm real thankful to be here and be with everybody here and everybody that's supporting firefighters.
Will you like it?
Yeah.
Do you feel like it's almost like a respite from being? Is it better than being in prison or no?
It's way better because I was in a prison yard. I'm seeing guys get stabbed, get jumped, get beat up. The cops treat us like shit. But here, we get better treatment, right? They talk to us like humans. They talk to us like humans. We got a job. We're underpaid, but we got a job.
Yeah.
You feel me? And then the community comes out and shows us all kinds of love. We never received that growing up. We never received that kind of love, that kind of recognition for anything we've done. So now, doing this kind of stuff and all this love coming, that's life-changing for a lot of guys. Because that's all they be needing is a little bit of recognition. With this, it's life-changing, and we get opportunities at careers.
How long was your sentence? You don't mind me asking?
17 years.
17 years.
Yep.
God damn. They're gonna shave it off.
Yep.
They're gonna shave it off.
They're gonna shave it off. They shaving some off.
They better shave it off.
They better shave it off, is what Buddy said. He said they better shave it off. The thing about it is that I think it's really easy for us to kind of just like wax poetic on this from the outside, but there's so many levels to this. There's so many levels to the fact that they, he said, I hope they shave it off. Like, it's not even like a given. And when we talk about doing your time for society, I mean, I would say that this really falls into it. And a lot of these brothers that they're interviewing are they're young people, and they are folks who have been incarcerated for quite some time and who are really just youth. It's not just older folks. Like, they're actually using folks from teenage juvenile camps. Look at this brother. Yeah. So I think it's really actually kind of wild that a lot of people don't know this. And I'm not sure if this is being done in other places in other states. So that's the other thing. I'm not sure if that's being done in other places in other states in terms of like disaster response. But I wanted to share their story. I think it's really important to show attention to that and to thank them for their service. So if you're out there in Cali and you see them, you know, thank them for their service. Like he said, you know, we didn't get love like that. And I thought that was also really deep what he was saying. Like, a lot of these brothers never really got love, and we're getting love here. And we have to literally put he didn't say this, but it's like, we got to literally put our life on the line to get love here. And that's unfortunate that that has to go that far. Now, I know that somebody was saying that they are able to work for the fire department. That's not always the case. I think it depends on what they're actually in for. That determines whether or not they would be able to go work for the fire department after. So it's not simply just a blanket thing that if you go work for this program that you're going to get to work in the fire department after. Okay, so let's see. Let me hear some of your thoughts. We got Rolando said they're victims. The carceral system is trash. That is correct. Kendi Moore says, because they afford the opportunity to incarcerated persons to work, to say they give a wide variety of people the opportunity to be employed. Oh, that was a response to something that I don't even know. Okay. Reese Roberts says, also, firefighting as a profession is one of those jobs that are not only high risk, but very forgotten about in the grand scheme of jobs we deem essential and critical to maintaining society. Dan demands a fan. As a non-American, I really don't understand why the Army and police are not the first to support the firefighters instead of citizens. Because basically the Army and police are really just a front. The Army is supposed to, exert imperialism. It is presented as if they are going to help countries. No, they are there to physically and violently support the spread of the United States imperialist intent. The police are here to protect the property of those who have signed up for that. And that's essentially what it is, which is why when you see in Altadena, the police are literally present not to help any of the individuals. No, they're not there helping people. They're there essentially exerting a presence of, if you act up, we're going to harm you. Yeah. So I think it's really important that we make that distinction. So thanks, Dan's Demand, for even pointing that out. There really is no committed intention of the United States to protect and help and serve citizens. It's about protecting and helping and serving money and property, which brings us to our next story, which is Mike Johnson. I don't know why I said Jones. Mike Johnson, the House Speaker, he said, I'm always amazed at how terrible these people are. House Speaker says Cali aid should have conditions. Let's just hear him say it out of his own damn mouth.
Are you open to providing aid to California without any conditions at all?
I think we've got to have a serious conversation about that. Obviously, there's been water resources management, forest management, mistakes, all sorts of problems. And it does come down to leadership, and it appears to us that state and local leaders were derelict in their duty in many respects. So that's something that has to be factored in. I think there should probably be conditions on that aid. That's my personal view. We'll see what the consensus is. I haven't had a chance to socialize that with any of the members over the weekend because we've all been very busy, but It'll be part of the discussion for sure.
What about the debt limit increase? What about tying the debt limit increase to it?
There's some discussion about that, but we'll see where it goes.
A mess. Now, this then became a thing where the Democrats is like, oh, hold up now. Now, if you gonna be tying federal wildfire relief for California to the debt limit, that could come back to bite you, because a lot of these Republicans are representing disaster-prone states like Florida, Louisiana, including Mike Johnson. He represents Louisiana. So Representative Jared Moskowitz, who was a Democrat in Florida, he said, this place is like a high school. It's tit for tat. When one side breaks a norm, the other side is happy to return the favor, pointing to the removal of members from committees as an example. And since I really enjoy taking any opportunity to reference 90s teen movies, I felt like I would catch you up to speed on how Congress is responding to this in the style of 90s teen movies and quotes from Congress. Hey guys. So let's talk about what Congress is saying about this whole situation that's going on in California and wildfires, and if they're going to get relief. First up, we have our guy, Representative Ami Bera from California. So Representative Ami Bera from California was like, I just think it's really bad precedent, and it would set like a really bad precedent if we did this. You know what I'm saying? Like, I do think it could have slingshot effects. And you know what? He's like totally right. Like, that could really be a freaking problem. You know what I'm saying? So then we talked to House Democratic Caucus Chair Pete Aguilar, and Pete Aguilar was like, I don't know if it's because their state is in the hot seat, but this is crazy and ridiculous and would completely upend Congress. And I was like, oh my God, House Democratic Caucus Chair Pete Aguilar, you're like so right. Like, that could totally happen, and that's actually really, really valid. But then we spoke to Representative Brad Sherman, who is a Democrat from California. And Brad Sherman was like, well, I actually feel like it would obviously be out freaking outrageous if this was what they did. And you know what, Brad, like, you're so totes correct. He was like, listen, my district was directly hit by the wildfires, and it would be unfreaking thinkable for Republicans to react differently to a disaster based upon how people voted. You're right, Brad Sherman. We totes agree with you. Totally. Now, Representative Young Kim, who is actually a representative from California, she was like, well, if aid is needed, we like need to deliver. Like, she was like not playing around with the shenanigans. You know what I'm saying? She pulled her sword out and just cut straight to the chase. If aid is needed, then you guys have to freaking deliver. And that is totes correct. Last but not least, though, listen, Sydney Clamenter-Dove was not about it. Okay? Sydney Clamenter-Dove was giving you the craft seriousness, and she was like, listen, people have lost their lives, homes, and livelihoods. I have zero tolerance for partisan BS right now. Oh my goodness. Sydney Clamenter-Dove is really giving it to you guys straight to your face, okay? Just like a wand, like she would hold if she was this character in The Craft. And I know you're probably thinking, like, Amanda, you're showing us all these 90s characters, but like, how do they actually relate to the real people from the representatives? Well, here you go. This is Representative Ami Bera, and he looks like the guy from Harold and Kumar Go to White Castle. And then you have House Democratic Caucus Chair Pete Aguilar, who I very, very generously compared to our favorite main character, Freddie Prinze Jr. from She's All That, when he was over there helping out Lainey Boggs. We love it. But then we also have Representative Brad Sherman, and Brad Sherman, like, you know, I realized there really isn't a lot of like nerds in 90s teen movies. Like they were all in the 80s movies. And so I had to go with Spitz Palladores, Michael Squints Palladores from The Sandlot. And if you thought it was hard to find people with glasses in 90s movies, it was even harder to find Asians. Okay. There were like no Asians in 90s teen movies. It was kind of like crazy. And so I had to pull from Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon, which was released in 1999, and give our girl, Representative Young Kim, her just due with an Asian representation, even though I have a feeling that Young Kim is from Korea, and this is definitely a Chinese movie. Last but not least, we had to go to Sydney Clominger Dub, and she is represented by our Black Witrin Sistren from The Craft. Okay, so from The Craft. So I think we all can agree, though, that Congress really absolutely totes Minotes is a true fire, dumpster fire. And I mean that with all puns intended. Yes! I don't think you'll understand how much fun I be having creating these things. But yeah, Congress is high school. And so there you have it. Caught you up. All right. Well, we are very lucky to be joined by our guest today. We have been talking about what's been going on in the result of the Eaton fire in Altadena. The Eaton fire, by the way, is still burning. And so I want to bring to the stage our guest, Nikki Hughes. Nikki, I feel like you are muted.
Am I muted?
There you go.
Okay.
There you go. We have our guest, Nikki Hughes, who's the owner of Octavia's Bookshelf in Altadena. And Nikki, I'm so happy to have you here. I want to also again remind y'all that I actually first met Nikki when I was promoting my documentary In Amanda We Trust. That was before I realized that the entire government is full of it. And it took me doing an entire documentary to come and actually realize that. But I was able to go to Nikki's store and promote the doc. But Nikki, can you please, first of all, I just want to extend my sympathies to what's going on with your, do you even know what's going on with your home?
So there was an aerial map. A friend of mine was able to see last night, and the house is still there. There are like 5 houses out of like 200. And
oh my gosh. Wow. That must have been exhilarating. Wow.
Yeah. I am.
You deserve it, sis. You deserve it. They've been putting you through it over there.
And I think when I typed my name in coming in, I put my last name is wrong. It's high, like high school, or like you're getting high.
Where did I put Hughes? No, that's probably my error because I do 9 million things. I mess up all the time. So it is Nikki High. And Nikki, what is the, so catch for people who are not up to speed, because it's one thing to hear from like influencers. It's another thing to hear from, journalists, news. It's another whole thing to hear from people who are there on the ground in the situation. So can you just tell us what's going on currently in Altadena in response to the Eaton fire that's still burning?
Yeah. Amanda, first, I just want to say thank you so much for having me on. You have been like an early and ongoing supporter. You were one of the first people to reach out to me when the fire started, to offer some tangible support. So I appreciate that. It is unlike anything I've ever seen. I've lived in Pasadena and Altadena for 47 years of my life. So, I've been here since I was 3.
Wow. I was going to say you Black, so I don't really know. Like, are you 47? Are you 62? I don't know.
I'm 50 years old. But, I was trying to, over the last couple of days, to just like take a look at my street, what's left of it. And there are National Guards and tanks in front of my street. There's a ton of police presence, which for me and for people who look like me, it's difficult to see a National Guard with an AR-15.
Why are they there?
So they said that there's looting. I've not
looting what?
I have no idea, but the streets are, Altadena is completely blocked off. The day following the fire, Pasadena was completely like dark. There's no cars on the street. Everything's burnt out. It feels very unsettling and hurtful. Like this is my hood.
Yeah, it is.
So yeah, no, it's but then you drive around Pasadena, you see these little grassroots organizations, literally neighbors outside with pop-up tables giving out water and clothes. I mean, we are taking care of each other, and so that is a glimmer of hope in all of this, but it feels unreal being here.
When it comes to Octavia's bookshelf, I know that you have made that a source of refuge for folks visiting. So not visiting, but refuge that folks can visit. So can you tell us about what you're doing over there at the bookshelf?
Yeah, it actually started my days are off. So I want to say Wednesday. We had to evacuate. So first of all, let me just give you some context. Living in this area, I am used to Santa Ana winds.
Okay.
And so I just thought it would be a windstorm. Maybe we would lose a fence, whatever. I had my flashlights, my shows downloaded on an iPad because I knew power.
Power.
Yeah. Right. So I'm in bed with the dogs. My husband's at work. Anyway, they cut power off. And then about 6:45, police started coming up the street on loudspeakers saying, evacuate, get out, get out. So I am just at this time just trying to get my dogs. So I got my dogs.
How many dogs?
2 dogs.
What are their names?
I have a German Shepherd named Freddie Latavius Jackson.
Naturally, yes, of course.
And a pit bull named Davion Marquise Ferdinand.
And how are they?
Nervous as hell.
Those are 2 big dogs to transport too. Don't tell me you got a Prius.
No, but I got the dogs. I got some medication, and we evacuated. But again, it's not connecting with me. I'm like, we'll be back tomorrow. So we went to my brother's house. Next morning, shit is on fire. So I went up to the bookstore and I realized that we still had power and Wi-Fi. So I just put out a note that said, hey, everybody, we have Wi-Fi and power. If you need to come to log on, whatever, do that. And within 3 hours, it turned into the operation that's happening right now. People just started delivering water and, masks. And then suddenly it went to toiletries. And so I just, with that first 24 hours, I looked at our bookstore manager and she said, I think we have an operation here. And I was like, okay, yes, but excited to be able to do that. So now the store has no books in it. It is just the shelves are filled with toiletries, blankets, underwear, gift card. I mean, we have everything. And I've just been distributing supplies to evacuees along with the help of so many volunteers. And that's where we are.
How can people donate to help?
So there is a list of Black families who lost everything in the fire. Also, can I just say real quick, I'm trying to stay off of social media as much as I can, but I'm seeing some discourse from folks who are like, why do people keep saying Black families, brown families? And it's
I was actually going to ask you to give us some history on Altadena.
Yeah. So, a lot of Black families bought in Altadena because so Altadena used to be 95% white, and then there was a freeway situation. White folks decided that it was no longer desirable, and they left. And so that allowed, in the 50s, that allowed Black families to come in and purchase homes. So, you know, the home ownership amongst Black people in Altadena is at about 82%.
Oh, wow.
Which is double the national average.
Yes.
Right. So like, this is a special little mountain community. There are so many Black and brown families that were able to come here. We were surrounded, you know, by towns that were sundown towns, like South Pasadena was. Eagle Rock was a sundown town. You
Can
know,
you tell people? Actually, no, keep going. I'm going to ask people what a sundown town is.
okay. And so, you know, a lot of folks, a lot of Black and brown people moved to Pasadena. But again, that home ownership started like in the 50s in Altadena. And so these houses that were purchased for $30,000, $40,000, $50,000 have been in families for generations. Like, that's how we built generational wealth. And so it's remarkable, and it's pissing me off hearing people say, like, what about everybody else? And
it's
like,
always what about everybody else?
Yeah.
When there's like
yeah.
Even when Black people are in the majority, it's what about everybody else?
Yes. And so anyway, it's hurtful to see the city that, you know, raised you be flattened. And I don't know. I like, this community raised me. They show up for me. They don't play about me. Like, our community does not play about me. And so I am just so grateful to be in this position. And I can only do that with the help of everybody else. And they've done it. So I'm so grateful to just be here in service of everybody who needs it.
I mean, I had texted Dr. Robin D.G. Kelly, who actually grew up in Altadena as well, and was like, you know, I just want to check in on you. And he was telling me about what's going on with him. And he also was telling me about what's going on in Altadena. And I was like, well, you know, let me know if you'd like to come on the show to talk about it. And he was like, actually, I think a better person to come on the show would be Nikki High. And I was like, I already reached out to her. I'm ahead of the game.
So, fun fact about Robin D.G. Kelly is his little sister is my oldest and best friend. So I've known Robin since I was about 11.
Oh, wow. He was my graduate thesis advisor at Columbia.
I love when people come in the bookstore and they try to like name drop. They're like, well, Robin D.G. Kelly said that. And I'm like, bro, I've known him literally for like 40 years. Like, knock it off.
Knock it off. Well, can you please tell us where people can donate to specifically Octavia's bookshelf, but also anywhere else that you feel like people can show their support?
Yeah. So you can support me. I have a Venmo. I have like an old GoFundMe that has like suddenly revived. That just helps us keep the business going, because I haven't been able to sell anything, you know, obviously since this happened. And capitalism, I got to pay rent. And
girl, ain't that something? It's like, even when we're like against capitalism, it's like, but we here.
Yeah.
That's why I be telling folks here, like, y'all got to donate to the show.
Yeah. Yeah.
I gotta live to do the show.
Right. And it's like, you know, when you have, and you know this, when you have people on your payroll, like, you're in charge of not just your life, but like other people's livelihood.
Yes.
So, yeah, Venmo at Octavia's Bookshelf. Like I said, our old GoFundMe is still up, but there is a list of Black families, Black and brown families, who lost everything in the fire. It's like a huge document. That's the best place to get money to people right now, because so what's happening is we don't know anything. We can't go home. So like, we just got an Airbnb day before yesterday. I was in a hotel for a couple of days, and then I had to leave because it was overbooked. I spent a few nights on my brother's futon. So, you know, I'm trying to get people their immediate needs. It was so cute though, and I love the intentionality. I had a Black woman come in and she donated these little kits, and in the kit it had edge control, a toothbrush, and Cantu
Like
yeah, some Cantu shampoo and conditioner, and I thought that was so cute.
because we gonna always stay cute. No matter the conditions, the edges will be laid. That's literally part of the reason why I got locks, so that people would stop expecting my edges to be laid.
Exactly.
I'm Bohemian. Well, people have questions, and so would you mind answering some of them?
I don't mind at all.
Okay, so let's go into it. Zebra Lens question: are the people of Altadena aware of those vultures that will come in after a disaster and try to buy up people's property for very cheap and lowball them? They should not sell their property.
Yeah. Do not sell Granny's house. Yes, and I'm already getting reports here on the ground from people who are getting text messages, and they're saying something along the lines of, "Hey, hope you're doing
already.
Okay right. Are you looking to sell your house? I can give you a fair price. Please reach out." So that is already happening. And we are dedicated to making sure that does not happen. But
how does that, I mean, without, you know what? Let me keep y'all your methods quiet. Let me not even ask. Yeah. Keep it clandestine. But I love that there is awareness about this, because this is a really panicked time, right? Where you start to think like, I need to get this lump sum to be able to reset, relocate, rebuild, etc. And that is usually, of course, when the vultures come in, when people are at their most vulnerable.
Yep. I won't give out all the secrets, but there's a team of Black professionals like lawyers and other folks who have some really high level skills to help manage that. And so soon I hope to be able to connect people.
Okay. Next question. Does Nikki think there will be a form of federal fiduciary discrimination towards the relief needed to build Altadena?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Do you have any insights as to, I mean, I think we all know the obvious, but it's always good to restate the obvious because everybody actually don't know the obvious.
Yeah. I mean, you know, a lot of people hadn't even heard of Altadena until this, and then to hear about it and then be like, oh, that's a Black place.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I see a lot of stuff about Palisades and Malibu, and you know, they are a little bit more well practiced at fires. We have not had a situation like this.
Really? I was going to ask that. Like, you're used to the winds, but has there been a fire danger in Altadena previously?
No, it's really interesting too, because I think about Parable of the Sower by Octavia Butler.
Ma'am?
But Lauren Alamina,
I'm reading
it's through a series of journal entries, and the day the fires started, it's February 1st, 2025.
No, it's not. Cut it out.
Yeah.
So I'm reading Parable of the Sower, but I don't have time to read.
Yeah.
Oh, I read it in little spurts, and I haven't gotten to the fire.
Yeah. So the book kicks off July 20th, 2024 on Lauren Olamina's birthday. But yeah, by February 1st, 2025, that's the day the fire started. They are started by arsonists who are addicted to this drug called pyro. So
I don't know about you, but I feel like a lot of people have been like, oh, I feel like these fires were started by someone. Do you in any way feel that way?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, and I can't overstate this, the level of destruction and the speed and the length that it traveled, like across the foothills and down.
Yeah. I saw a video where someone timestamped from when they saw it on the foothill to when it reached their home.
Yeah.
And it was maybe 35 minutes.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, I have chills just saying it. And then, you know, you see videos of people saying like, let's not start conspiracy theories. And I'm like, let's start conspiracy theories.
Yeah. Yes.
Like,
Yes.
it should be on the role of the government to debunk them. Like
Right.
we should be theorizing. I always say that we have to always ask the question when we see things that don't make sense. We have to ask who benefits from this.
And we all know the answer in this case. There are a lot of people that are not the people of Altadena that can benefit from this.
Can you give us some insight into that?
I mean, Altadena is dope as fuck. Like,
you better say
it. It's beautiful. It's not too far from like where people want to go, like, you know, the beach or downtown LA or whatever. You're just nestled in these beautiful foothills. I know that there's talks of, you know, smart cities wanting to, you know, them wanting to build smart cities. And what better way to do that than to, you know,
right. I just realized that in Insecure, when we shot at Tiffany's house, it was a home in Altadena.
I can't say 100%, but I would almost bet it's not there. There is nothing left. There's almost nothing left.
Except your house.
Except me and four other people.
You better be anointed out here. Okay. Like
it was funny because my aunt was saying like, oh honey, your house is gonna stand. And I was like, I don't know, auntie.
Well, I don't know if you feel comfortable, but would you mind sharing some of the frustrations that you've experienced and harassment that you've experienced with Octavia's bookshelf previous to this?
Yeah. I mean, so I opened February 18th of 2023, and I will never forget a week before I opened. So mind you, had not opened the store yet, but of course everybody was talking about it because there's so many readers in Pasadena, Altadena, but also like Los Angeles. And so it was like a lot of buzz happening. And I got word from somebody from the city of Pasadena that said, you know, hey, we're really proud. We're excited that you're opening. Don't worry about all of the complaints we've gotten. And I was like, but I haven't opened yet. Like, how am I getting complaints?
Right.
So, you know, that sort of started it. But since then, I've had dog shit left on the front of my store, in the back of the store. Somebody kicked in the door in the middle of the night, and I have that person on video. I, you know, from time to time get phone calls from people who want to talk about how disgusted they are with me, that I'm racist or divisive, or, you know, I get the.
When I was there was somebody that was walking by, right?
Yeah. That's, you know, there was another person that came in that was like verbally attacking one of the booksellers. That person, I actually was able to get their license plate number, and I put it on, because I usually try not to say a whole lot, but I put that one on Instagram, and I was like, listen, I'm like, because I'm trying to sell books here. I just want people to have access to literature. Right. So I put that one on Instagram. I'm like, here's this guy's face. Here's his I filed a police report. The police, they were able to locate him. He wasn't even a local. He lived like 45 minutes away. So he drove
in with the ish.
Yeah. So again, the fact that like books bother people so much.
Ma'am.
Yeah, you know, and I try to like engage with people when they come in. So if they say like, oh, you know, I'm kind of uncomfortable, I'm like, let's talk about it. Why? You know, so we and most people are coming in with good intentions. I do sometimes have people walk in like, I don't think I'm not woke enough to shop here, or, you know, what kind of book do you have for me being a white man? And I'm like, all of the books.
All of these books. They're books. Like
the books.
It's so, isn't it? It never ceases to amaze me how simultaneously people like that feel entitled to everything, while also feeling feeling entitled to your stories, feeling entitled to being represented everywhere. I mean, and you know, when you talk about the books, they didn't want us to read.
No, not at all. Not at all. But it's a customer of mine mentioned that she said, I bet some of the people who have filed complaints about you or who have harassed you have needed to come in the store over the last week to get supplies.
I promise you. And you know, I texted you and told you very clearly, I hope that people who harass you, I know people are going to say, Amanda, you evil for that. You evil for that. I hope they got a taste the flames.
You made me spit out my tea as soon as I saw that text.
I said, good. I brought some laughter to Miss Nikki today, because when I saw that, the first thing I thought of was, you know, I met you. The first thing I thought of was like, I met that sister and she had that bookstore there, and then people was harassing her, and now they are going to need her.
Yep.
They're going to need her.
Yep.
We got a couple more questions.
Okay.
Let's see. Hi, Mrs. High. Do you Hi, Mrs. High. Do you know if there's a way to add more Black families to the list of those who've lost their homes?
Yes, I do. And I can get that information for you.
So while Nikki is doing this, want to remind you all that there are a number of ways that you can support if you don't have money. You can also just share, share these donation links, share the graphics, etc. I know not everybody has bread to be able to provide, but especially if you are in California, I know Kashan mentioned that Mrs. Nikki, if you need any helpers, they wanted to know where they can reach out to you to find out if they can come and assist.
Yes. So I have a link tree on my Instagram, and there is a form that you can fill out for volunteer for like physical volunteering, because we'll need help to continue distributing supplies. My bookstore is trashed. Like, once I get everything distributed, I'm gonna need the
help to organize,
to clean, to put books back on the shelf. If you know of a family impacted, you can go to send an email to communityaidena@gmail.com. They will add your family or whoever it is to a list. It's a document that is going around, and that's the best way to get at it.
Okay, so Community Aid Dena, that's DENA, Community Aid Dena @gmail.com.
Yes.
I might have to come back out to Cali to get my to get a teeth cleaning, because I don't play about dentists, and I like my dentist, and I'm not changing for nobody. So I will make sure to come and visit you. We have a couple quick questions.
Yes.
Someone asked, hi, Mrs. Nikki, what's your favorite Octavia Butler book?
So I'm going to go with Kindred, and that is because that was my gateway book.
Okay.
I read Kindred in like 87, 88, and I was like, I'm sorry, what is this? And that is what started my rabid obsession with Octavia Butler. So yeah, I would say.
And tell us about that. Tell us about your obsession with Octavia, besides naming your whole store after her.
Okay, so one thing is, so when I read Kindred, Dana, who is the main character, I think maybe even on the first or second page, she says, I'm Dana, and I live in Altadena, California. Yeah, and so to read a book written by a Black woman, a story that was so I don't even know the word. Like, I'd never read anything like that before. And to have the writer from Altadena, Pasadena, and the central character, like that hyper localness. But Dana is heavily pregnant. She's married, and she keeps being pulled into the antebellum South by this little white boy named Rufus. And when she's pulled back in time, he's always in trouble. He's always like about to get his ass whooped or whatever. And this continues to happen. Dana realizes that she needs to save his life because he is her ancestor, because he will eventually grow up to own her family. Like it.
I really forgot that aspect of the story.
Mm-hmm.
Like, and that's the aspect. I mean,
yeah. So I would say that one, it means a lot to me because that was the very first thing that I read about by her. But then I would read, like, you know, essays that she published, or, you know, she would be in sci-fi magazines, her short stories like Bloodchild. It's another favorite of mine. And I love hearing her talk, you know, in interviews. She would talk about, like, you know, how she became inspired to write certain stories that, but yeah, Kindred would be the one.
Kindred is the one.
Yes.
Well, I would like to give you the stage to address the people in any way that you see fit, to talk about whatever you want in the current status of things. And so, y'all, let's give a welcome to Ms. Nikki High, owner of Octavia's Bookshelf.
Thank you so much. I just want to stress that I would not be able to do any of these things without the help of my community. This is so much bigger than me. And I'm delighted and honored to be in a position where I can help the community who has helped me so much in the past, and continues to do so. I also want to please just stress the importance of reading Octavia Butler. I mean, obviously, I recommend everything, but I would love for folks to read Parable of the Sower. That's a book you've probably, if you haven't read it yet, you're probably hearing a lot about it. And what I want to say about Parable of the Sower is, you know, Octavia Butler absolutely hit it on the nail, you know, about where we would be in society. But the true text of Parable of the Sower is a blueprint to rebuilding with community. And that's so important because we need to know how to move on, how to go on as a society, you know, as these major environmental events happen. And Octavia, she already wrote it. She's showing us how to rebuild.
Thank you so much. And you are showing us how to rebuild. So I want to remind everybody that you can support Octavia's Bookshelf at Venmo at Octavia's Bookshelf. Can you also let us know where can people find the list for the GoFundMes of all the individuals who have lost their homes or who are looking for support?
Yes. Who is that?
This is Lando.
Oh, I know Lando from your stories. That's Lando.
This is Lando. Lando
to say.
Lando has cancer in his nose.
I'm so sorry.
Lando gets to do whatever he want to do.
Yeah, I'm so sorry. I'll text you the link. I don't have it on me.
Okay.
Right now, but
so you guys look out for that, and I'll put it on my Instagram as well as in my Patreon.
Yes.
All right.
Amanda, thank you so much. I
Thank
really
you.
appreciate it. I remember when you came to the store, I went out to the back to greet you, and you know, I was going to do my thing like, "Hi, I'm Nikki. Hi, I'm the owner of Octavia." Okay, you know, and then you were like, so tell me, are you okay? And I was like, yeah. Did people still messing with you? I'm like,
yeah, because, you know, it just really, it really irks me that we're still dealing with this, and we're still dealing with people saying that this isn't happening.
Yeah.
You know, I'm still dealing with people saying to me, why do you bring race in? Why are you bringing race into the fires? Excuse me? What? Why am I bringing race into the fire? Like, it's everything that happens here is racist.
It is.
And even if it's not, even if the catalyst isn't from that, the result always includes that. So when I came to the store and I had heard about what was going on with the harassment, I was just livid, and I'm really glad.
What's going on? What? And I was
because I'm the Green Beret in every situation. I'm like, I'm here. What are we doing? Who are we fighting? What do we need to do to fix this? You know, and people really like. I mean, it's a whole thing. Anyone who's worked with me knows. Like, I'm like 10 toes down.
Right.
So, but I'm so glad to see the community showing up and supporting, and we're going to continue to support. And, you know, someone hit me and was like, don't forget about Altadena next week. And it's like, I'm not that kind of gal. I'm not that kind of gal.
Yeah.
And I would love to invite you back to give us updates, you know, on what's going on. And, you know, because things needs shift.
Right.
Needs shift over time. And I definitely want you to know that we're a resource here at Views from AmandaLand to continue to amplify those needs.
Yeah, just one more thing. When you say needs shift, I want to say too that there's going to be a lot of trauma care work that will need to be done. And so I'm working right now to get a list of Black therapists who are willing to donate their time to connect them to families, because the level of PTSD, and I'm speaking from my own personal experience as well, let alone, you know, everybody else who are like fleeing with children and disabled relatives. We're going to need to address that. And so I'm hoping in the next couple of weeks, I'll be able to send something out. Thank you so much, Kishan. To reach out. I'm sorry, I'll be able to connect all of those dots, and then get folks connected with people that can help them.
So, baby, you done got an operation. You got an institution.
You don't even, like, my mind is like, I woke up in the middle of the night, you know, after struggling to get to sleep. And then I started thinking, oh my God, what about all the sober living homes that burnt down? Like, people in recovery who, you know, so
yeah.
I'm constantly thinking about, like, just the folks that
the differently abled people, because I got in trouble for saying disabled yesterday. The differently abled people, there's just so much.
Yeah.
You know, there's just so much. But this is why I be telling y'all, ask yourself, what aspects of your life do you rely on from government that if it ended, if it was just kaput, you would need to get from somewhere else? What aspects? And if that's the case, then you need to look at who in your community already provides those things.
Yeah.
And if you can be the person to provide those things, because that is definitely something that people don't think about until it hits them in the face.
It's true. I am living on the generosity of people like you and your audience and our community at large. I have not received anything
from the people who are taking your tax money.
Yeah.
Well, thank you again for coming through. And I heard that you are going to be on some other folks' platforms, so I'm looking forward to that. I also connected with Democracy Now! And was like, you need to put this guy on the show. And they were like, we're going to reach out. So definitely spreading the word. Thank you again, and sending you all the love and lifting you up in this difficult time. And you know, just know again that we are a resource here.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate you.
Thank you. Have a good one. All right, y'all. You see the Venmo is right there, so you know what to do. Show your love. Show your love. Show Nikki some love. Show your love. Show your love. Come on. Them old Octavia's bookshelf. Them old Octavia's bookshelf. Show your love. Show your love. Yeah. Ooh. Show your love. Show your love. Show your love. SHOWLOVE. SHOWYOURLOVE. Show your love. Venmo Octavia's boo. Ooh, yeah. Reagan said more 90s every show. Reagan, you need to know something. It is one of my bucket lists to do a 90s R&B album. And you know, that's why when your mans did it, when Bruno did it, I was like, I see you. Show wow. Show wow. Show wow. Show wow. Show. Like, that is my joy in life. Time keeps slipping away from me. Yeah. Time. Oh, man. Oh, yeah, the finger got to go to the ear because I got to hear it. Look far. Show wow. Listen, I would love to just get enough money to where I just don't have to work no more. And I can literally just give money to like charitable needs and then just make art. That's really what I would like to do. I'm setting my life up to be that, actually. I'm setting my life up. That's part of the reason why I moved from California, was so that I wouldn't have this crazy overhead where I'm constantly chasing capitalism, constantly chasing it. Constantly. So thank you, Laura and Lorraine. Nalo said, your show manages to take me through all emotions. And I love it here. Thank you. Ordering Chaos said, this is me, by the way, all my meetings. Okay. I feel like you meant to say this is me between all my meetings, and I appreciate that. So no. When I say my presence, like my work, meaning like, I don't want to have to ask y'all for donations. I don't want to have to ask y'all to donate or whatever. Like, I would love to be able to just do the show just because I like doing the show, but without any added necessity in order to do the show. Like, Small Doses Podcast is going to go independent. I will now be covering all the production costs for Small Doses Podcast. It is going to be imperative that the listeners of Small Doses Podcast now listen to the ads. It's going to be imperative that the listeners of Small Doses Podcast download. Before, I wasn't that pressed because the production was being covered by other entities, but now it's all on me. And I want to make sure that I'm paying my people a fair rate, but I also need to make sure that, you know, the listeners understand that they are the support for this work. So I just wanted to, let y'all know that that's what I want to do. Okay. You know what it's time for? We still got a little bit more show. And it is time for, hold on one second. It is time for, how black do you feel today? Yes, y'all, it is time for How Black Do You Feel Today? And let me tell you, we done been talking about Octavia Butler for the past 30 minutes. And that is how Black I feel today.
Wrote the two parable books back in the 90s, and they are books about, as I said, what happens because we don't trouble to correct some of the problems that we're brewing for ourselves right now. Global warming is one of those problems, and I was aware of it back in the 80s. I was reading books about it, and a lot of people were seeing it as politics, as something very iffy, as something they could ignore because nothing was going to come of it tomorrow. That and the fact that I think I was paying a lot of attention to education because a lot of my friends were teachers, and the politics of education was getting scarier, it seemed to me. We were getting to that point where we were thinking more about the building of prisons than of schools and libraries. Not everybody was going in the wrong direction, but a lot of the country still was. And what I wanted to write was a novel of someone who was coming up with solutions of a sort.
So y'all know what to do. Y'all need to go and read Parable of the Sower. I'm in the midst of reading it right now. And I can't stress enough that if you are a writer or a creative, do not undermine the value of your work and its necessity in solution finding and in being a source of refuge and support for people in general. I think oftentimes we're seeing the arts be like relegated to the side as some hobby or some kind of like a extracurricular that doesn't really serve the people in real ways. However, we know that art is nourishment. We also know that our brains function at their highest when they are engaged in a number of different actions. And that is not simply just these utilitarian, exercises. I think I just got into my PSA. So let me just officially get into my PSA real quick. PSA. When we think about the way that art can impact, and we learn about people like Octavia Butler, who wrote this book, Parable of the Sower, with this mindset of solution, but in real, like, tangible ways, but filtering it through art. I think a lot of people, they don't look at art as a source for that or as a resource for that. And I know oftentimes people will say to me, like, you're not providing resources, you're not providing solutions. And I always say to them that literally the act of using creativity to inform is a source of solution, because it is providing for a lot of people information in an effective way where they can digest it and actually synthesize it into action. And for the most part, we are not given information in that way. We are given information in a way that I believe actually tries to lull us into sleep and give us no need to do action. We are provided information in a way that oftentimes is meant to say, oh, someone else is doing it and you don't need to think about that, so don't even bother with it and just stay over here on your couch and be catatonic. It has given us to this way. When you look at even the way newscasters speak, and they speak like this, it's not even real. There's an affectation about it that at the end of the day, it doesn't even feel like it has soul. So when we talk about people like Octavia Butler, we talk about people who were not just writing fiction, these fantastical ideas. No, she said she was educating herself and she grounded this in that. And I think we don't realize how often that is what's happening with the fiction that we're reading. It's not just fantastical ideas that aren't grounded in real things. As a writer myself, I can tell you that so much of my ideas about my imaginative ideas are coming from my real life experience. And they're coming from real life information that I learned. They're coming from real life issues that I consider to be problems that can be solved if we just consider outside of these really finite parameters of limitation that humankind has created. And what art does and creativity does is it helps to break down those limitations and those parameters, and it helps you to consider beyond. And I believe that we come from beyond. So we have to continue to consider to beyond. And so I appreciate the work of people like Octavia Butler and the myriad of authors and writers and artists and musicians out here who are using their God-given talent and doing the God work of considering beyond. And let me tell you that even if you are not an artist by career, you're an artist by existence by simply allowing yourself to think beyond. PSA. So that was my public seals announcement. And speaking of which, we actually are going to be doing a create color and vibe session on, that is Saturday, January 25th on my Patreon for this exact reason. You know, we need to be creating, and we need to be creating in community and creating together. Want to remind everybody that speaking of creating, you can get my Harriet Tubman pin. I decided to extend its availability. So you are still able to get the Harriet Tubman pin. If you didn't know, the Harriet Tubman pin was created out of my one-woman show, What Would the Ancestors Say? And it speaks to the reality that we do have our ancestors watching over us, that they are armed and they are ready to show us support and love, and that they are on the main line. You feel like you're alone. You feel like you don't got anybody watching you. There is energy that is still existing within the existence that is letting you know we've been here before and we got you. And so that is what this pin represents. Your ancestor being armed, ready, and on the main line. And you can get them at AmandaLandExports.com. AmandaLandExports.com. And when you buy a Harriet Tubman pistol pin, you are supporting all of the work that I do, which is 100% committed to collective liberation of not just the people, but of our minds. All right, but of our minds. So get you a Harriet Tubman pistol pin. And you guys, that is the show. That's the show. Want to remind you to go and leave a message about the bonus question. What skill do you bring your community? What skill do you bring to your community? Go to amandaseals.com. Click on that Views for AmandaLand tab. What skill do you bring to your community? Tomorrow, we have Dr. Melina Abdullah joining us on the show. Dr. Melina Abdullah will be joining us on the show, and she is going to be talking to us about also what's going on in LA as an LA native and somebody who is at the forefront of a lot of organizing and activism work. And we also have independent journalist David Heath joining us tomorrow, and he's going to give us some insights on the DC of it all. Let's shout out the folks who have given us some love. Shout out to Lena. Shout out to Maddie D. It's so much fun to come across content that makes you think and adds to your knowledge. Awesome. Also, Vanessa M. said, good morning. You are doing the work and all the great things. I'm inspired and grateful. Thank you. And I love the seal emoji. Thank you, Vanessa. We got Nina. We got Lauren giving me some seals right here. And we got Chakra Guru again giving us some money. We got Sonia. We got Lorraine. How about I woke up singing Show Your Love? Hit me in the cash app, baby. Sonia Gutierrez, thank you. We got Coco, thank you. As well as Order in Chaos 85. Thank you so much. And I hope that these supers are so few and far between today because you gave your bread to Octavia's Bookshelf. And you can again go to @Octavia's Bookshelf on Venmo and donate. You can also follow Octavia's Bookshelf on Instagram. Follow Octavia's Bookshelf on Instagram. And remember, if you know a family that is looking to be added to that GoFundMe list, then you can submit at communityaidina@gmail.com. communityaidina@gmail.com. So one of the things that a lot of people haven't talked about is the fact that there were actually a number of people who lost their lives in this fire, particularly in Altadena. And since this episode is all about Altadena, I wanted to pay some love to those people, show some love to those people, and give some attention to what they have experienced. And I think when we think about what's going on, and we think about the realities of these natural disasters happening, I think that there's a lot of people who may not really understand just how real it is that you can lose your life. I think that a lot of people think that it's like, oh, I don't know, like it's inconvenient. But it's not simply inconvenient. It is incredibly dangerous in a lot of these situations. And there's a real scary malaise about a lot of people that I see, where they just kind of, they're so caught in the, how do I put it? They're so caught in the internet of things, in the movie of things, that they don't genuinely understand. They don't seem to really understand that, no, people, we are in danger. We're in real, like real danger. It's not made up. It's not fantastical. It's not exaggerated. And we really need to heed the reality of that on a much more actual level, I would say. And I don't know about you guys, but I'm realizing that I have not been prepared for that danger. I haven't been prepared for that danger, and I need to get prepared for that danger. So I wanted to just pay our respects to these individuals who, were caught in what we are now realizing is in many ways going to be regular life. So let me just bring this up for you guys, and show these people the attention they deserve. I enjoyed laughing and learning with you. Please make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. And tell your friends. Also, listen to the podcast. It's available everywhere pods are casted. Listen ad-free by subscribing to Patreon Amanda Seals. Come on and join the Seal Squad. Views from AmandaLand, live 10 a.m. Eastern, Monday through Wednesday, with content on Thursday and Friday at YouTube Amanda Seals TV.